Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and one of my own games from the Heart of the Swarm beta, and gonna give you a little bit of my thoughts, comments, concerns, and just overall changes in Heart of the Swarm. I'll probably be focusing more on myself in this particular matchup, and I need to set some of my auto mouse follows for casting Heart of the Swarm as well. Alright, so Mathmic, someone that I found in the chat channels that was willing to pay or willing to play with here, and that's actually a nice little trick here. You can actually see where they're going to be mining to and where they're traveling, so that is rather nice. Also, some other updated interface changes. Worker count is also shown whenever you click a particular building, so you know how many workers are actually mining. 24 is the maximum workers you can have mining minerals before they start adding no return. Meanwhile, gas is going to be 3. So bottom right hand side here, one thing I will add as well, at the very start of the game, all of the SCVs were automatically started mining. So I don't know if that was actually a change that Blizzard implemented, and that should make it much easier early on. I'm going to be doing a little bit of scouting here. Probe, going to take a look around, see that I am building on the front door, perhaps come in, getting a little bit more zaps as well. And I really don't know what strategies that I want to be utilizing here. Mathmic is going to be able to send this probe in and pretty much scout for a very long time. Notice that I am not going for an early gas, so I am going to be trying to go for a much more of an economic build. Meanwhile, taking a look at Mathmic has not yet taken his gas either, and he really needs to start spending his chrono boost a little bit further, getting up that assimilator finally. Alright, SCV coming out across the top, and a couple of things. There are now destructible rock towers. Destructible rock towers are similar to destructible rocks. They have fairly low hit points at 500. They still have armor, but when you destroy them, it actually creates destructible rocks here. These rocks will actually fall down, land here, and then create a very large wall that you cannot be passed unless you actually break down those rocks. So these rocks eventually turn into these rocks, and it's a little bit more of a defensive game. One thing that I will note, there are a lot of Zonaga towers all across the map here, and these center Zonaga towers do control much of the site going across the center. Now I am opening up with a 1 racks expand. I don't know how aggressive I really can be with this. And taking a look at his base, it doesn't look like he was going to be trying to go for a 4 gate, as the real metagame right now has really been to go heavy excuse me, heavy economy early on. Now, one of the things that is much easier about Heart of the Swarm in terms of overall play experience is you can see there's actually these little tooltips here, as opposed to attack, move, and all that. There's little tooltips left, right, gather resources, and it gives you the much more common uses, similar to as a marine. You can move, and then if you A, then you can A, then attack, move, in order to show a little bit of the differences overall. We are going to be going into hallucination. Actually, nope, not going to go hallucination. And we should be getting into warp gate. There we go. Getting warp gate by Mathmic. The second assimilator has not been established yet, and Mathmic just pretty much sitting inside his base. I do have an SCV holding at the center Zonaga tower, and with me upgrading an additional orbital command and getting more barracks as well, I should be in a pretty good position. Now we are going to see the latest addition for the Protoss. The Protoss now getting that mothership core. Now, a change to the mothership core from when I played it in the Heart of the Swarm beta. Back at MLG Anaheim, the mothership core could not move. It actually stayed on a building. Now it can actually move around and then upgrade to a full mothership. Some of the nice abilities it has, let me go ahead and remove this timer here. It has Energize, it has Purify, and it has Mass Recall. The energy on it is pretty simple here. There's no real attack unless you do have Purify, and then it turns into a pretty effective cannon. But it is pretty easy to take down 250 total hit points combination shields. Now, if you take a look at the total cost of the mothership core, it will be, back over here, it is 100 minerals, 100 gas, but it is still a very defensive unit. Now, if you take a look, The Stalker and the Zealots were trying to come up the ramp there. I think he could have actually charged up the ramp if he decided to, but with me also getting more reinforcements, I am running off of more barracks and trying to get some more supply depots. I am getting a lot more supply blocks than I would like. And at least I'm not floating a lot of minerals. Yeah, maybe I will go ahead and play some more Heart of the Swarm, actually cast while I play and see if it actually looks good at all. Alright, so taking a look back over here, I am running up on 2 bases, 8/24 workers. We see near maximum efficiency here, 22/24. Over here, I am at 9/24 on the workers here. I have a lot more on gas. So my gas income is actually probably much higher since I am running on 2 gas instead of just 1. We now see a Stargate being added by Mathmic. And this was just one of these games where I'm just trying to re-establish and get a strong feel for what exactly I am trying to do. A lot of the times, whenever I play StarCraft, I go by feel and I don't have a definitive plan. And when you don't have a plan, you generally just go, you know what, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try to win. That's just a horrible way to play StarCraft. You need to have a plan. You need to prepare, and you need to have a decisive plan on how you're going to win before you do any sort of engagement. Now, Mothership Core does have recall. I do like the fact that the Mothership Core actually moves. Prior to the Mothership Core moving, the only thing that it could do was actually teleport from one nexus to another. And by teleporting from one nexus to another, it actually used up a lot of its energy and wasn't altogether that useful. Purify, 25 damage for 45 seconds, very, very effective here. And now I see a very large army coming out from the Protoss. You know, Zealots, Stalker is going to be coming up the ramp. I'm getting in position, and I now have a decent-sized army, and I'm just going to be able to shut down that Stalker before anything really happens. And because I'm controlling that high ground center zone Naga Tower, I know that all the units are simply backing off. Now I am going into double metavacs, getting the level 1 engineering bay, level 1 weapon upgrades. Also going into a Warhound. The Warhound was recently nerfed. I believe this particular patch version is the one where it still has the faster attack rate. One of the things that I really like about the Warhound, let me just go ahead and hide this for now. One of the reasons why I like the Warhound is a 2 supply unit for Terran. That costs 225 total resources. There was really nothing similar for Terran. Terran, in general, had very expensive, had units that were not very supply efficient. You can see that the destructible rocks here, I did take down the destructible debris so that the mountain did fall down. And now I have a little bit of a wall if I am trying to establish this expansion here, which I am currently doing. So the Warhound has been activated. That's the Warhound there. The model still looks a little clunky to me, but then again, maybe that is by design. Warhound does cost 2 supply right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets upgraded to 3 supply, but I really hope it doesn't, just because Terran players have a very difficult time in the late game. Supply inefficiencies, meaning that Zerg players and Protoss players generally have larger armies, larger resources armies, even though they have it even in terms of overall even in terms of overall supply. All right, that Warhound does move surprisingly fast, a 2.81, very, very fast attack rate. Stalkers and Zealots now trying to come back around. I am trying to add a little bit more defense as well, and I'm going to actually catch my opponent as he's moving out with his army. So very, very bad timing there. Mothership Core going to get taken down very quickly. Down it goes. And now here I am just rushing in, taking down this base. So not much of a fight here. You're going to see the Stalkers are trying to engage, and the Warhound has an anti-mechanical attack. Those missiles automatically just launch an attack there, and you can see the combination of the mechanical. You can see those missiles dealing a lot of damage to those sentries over there, and there's the GG. So a pretty one-sided game. I think I'm going to try to play some more games in just a moment and cast them live. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.